How long gone? Back in the building. Chris coming to you live from
What's going on?
From Stockholm. Them Jeans is back in LA. Did you kiss the pavement at LAX yesterday?
I did not kiss the pavement, but it was a beautiful welcome home. I would say the customs line was the longest I've ever seen it in my entire life, and I snuck past, I would say, 7,000 people pretending that I had global entry, and it was amazing. But I would still be at LAX right now if I didn't break the law.
7,000 sounds like a little bit of an overstatement, but it did look crazy from the picture you sent.
So you get off the plane.
I've only flown from international to LAX a few times, to be totally honest. Like, well, I don't know it that well, is what I'm saying.
This information is universal for any airport.
Okay.
So you get off the jetway.
Yes.
And then you cross that little threshold.
Yeah.
You get out into the main terminal corridor. And then, they have like the conveyor belts where you can walk. Mm-hmm. It's a long path. And then you go down into the customs line, whatever. We get off the plane. And then you get onto the conveyor belt. And then the conveyor belt, people started screaming because there was nowhere for people to stand once they got off the belt. It was like an iPhone game where you have to move the wall in time before the bad guys come. So and
people were losing their
minds. People are
screaming,
like old women are just like, help, because there's 10 feet left. And there's nowhere for anyone to stand, so you have
I like how they're acting like the conveyor belt's going at light speed. Like I can walk faster than the conveyor belt, but that's a separate.
But
issue.
I've never seen a line form on a conveyor belt.
Yeah, that's
so then
crazy.
You have to get off the conveyor belt and then walk backwards in the opposite direction that you just conveyed, and then you get back into the back of the line. And I just skipped all of that. So yeah, I'm great. I'm here. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I did a blue light sauna. I'm drinking green tea. I just went for the walk. I stole a mango. I'm back home in Glendale, and I was wearing a nose strip on my morning walk, and I could smell cologne from across the street, about 100 feet away, and I knew I was home in Glendale.
You could smell the Acqua di Gio from across the street wafting out of a BMW. I saved this story for the podcast because I had one of the wildest airport mornings I've ever had in my life today at Heathrow.
So you did Heathrow to Stockholm. How long is that flight? A couple hours?
A couple hours. Heathrow to Stockholm's a couple hours. I've done it a few times. Delta obviously doesn't offer a flight, so you have to use Swedish airline. SAS is the airline name. Who's about to get dragged through the fucking mud. So I guess there's a company basically. At a lot of airports, the employees for these smaller airlines are just from a service. Like they don't actually work for the airline. They work for another company called Swissport, which I learned about today. So it's called SAS, and it's these Swissport people are the ones actually running it. And the bag drop was a total mess, like a shit show, taking forever. And everybody was kind of getting frustrated. And then I get up to the front. She's like, "You're in the wrong line. This is for assistance." And I'm like, well, I have to drop this bag off. What difference does it make? Like, I need your assistance to put the bag on the fucking belt because I don't have access to that myself. And she was getting hot. Like this lady was getting hot. And I was like, relax, dude. Like it's all good. Like it's fine. Just, it's going to take 5 seconds. So I get up there, I show her my ticket, show her my passport. She's like, oh, you can't get on the plane. And I'm like, for what reason? She's like, well, your ticket says Chris and your passport says Christopher.
Woo!
And I was like, yeah, Chris is a pretty common short form of the name Christopher. I would say arguably that's one of the most well-known short forms in the world. And I'm like, but she's like,
other than Mike and Michael,
yeah, literally, we're top five. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, so she was like, how do I know that you're Christopher? And I was like, well, look at the picture and then look at me and then know that Chris is a short form of the name Christopher. And that's how you know. And she's like, well, I can't, there's nothing I can do. You're going to have to call. There's no SAS employees at this airport. Like you can't, there's nowhere to talk to anyone. There's no desk. You have to just call. So I have to get out of the line. I go stand over and I'm kind of like, what the fuck am I going to do? I know that if a place you can, if a place, the only way you can change a thing is to call, that means you're going to wait 3 hours to make, you know what I mean? It's not going to be good.
So in your mind, you're like, well, I guess I live in London now as a sovereign citizen of this new land.
I'm going back to the Broadwick. And so I get on the phone and I'm waiting. I have my AirPods in. I'm just thinking, I'm like, this is fucked. I just have to buy the same flight with the right name. So I went on the SAS website and got one of the last tickets for the flight that I already had a ticket for. went back up to the front, took off the bag tag I had for the flight I had paid for, put on a new bag for the second flight I paid for, put a new tag on, and then was fine. Had plenty of time to spare even. But I am going to be
unbelievable.
I'm going to be having a word with the SAS at some point. When I have 3 hours to wait on hold, they're going to refund me something. And I never do this, but this was so egregious. It was so insane. And then the woman who I got into an argument with was also the one taking tickets to get on the flight. So I got to make eye contact with her again and have kind of a nice classic Chris airport standoff. But anyway, I made it. It's beautiful in Stockholm, 75 degrees, sun is out. It's A+, you know. It's fine.
I'm wondering, because like I feel like that's something that, I mean, obviously this person was being a CUNT, maybe for good reason. Maybe you were being a CUNT yourself. And I don't think this would happen in America where we have so many people named Chris.
It's true.
And I think maybe one thing to consider, the fact that your name was spelled Christopher, not with a K. Maybe that was throwing this person off. You know what I mean?
It's anything is possible. Anything's possible. I think there could be some truth to that. I think it's also like, I'm sure this is like a rule, but in a lot of places they'd be like, but come on. You know what I mean? Like, it's all good. Like, I get it. You know, I think that's the thing. It's a rule that somehow this has never happened to me, even though no one calls me Christopher except my mom. So I don't know how this is. I've avoided this for 20 years of flying.
Do I?
But fuck SAS, and you're going to be hearing from me, not my lawyer. That's a little too much, but just from me. Just for me. We're going to have a word.
Fuck SAS. Fuck B2B solutions. Fuck all that shit.
Yeah. Fuck all that shit. Fuck all that shit. But yeah, it's like amazing here, like Swedish summer in full effect. So it's nice to be here.
What are you going to do there?
I am going to see some friends.
Swedish shit?
I'm seeing friends. I'm having a lunch tomorrow, and then I'm actually going to, there's an infrared sauna here called Heat that I am going to.
What a name.
Which is going to be good. There's cryo as well. And then I'm having dinner with Barclay, and then I'm shooting something for Nitty Gritty, and then I'm coming home. It's really that simple. And I'm, of course, podcasting from the beautiful Nobis Hotel with you. You know, that's what, does it get better than this, Jason?
Nervous?
In
cryotherapy.
I it's so
sorry.
It's, you can't help yourself, and I understand. I if I was as good as you at that, I couldn't help myself either.
Yeah, I've never been to Sweden, and the only Swedish I know is from like making, you know, like cartoons and shit. So I know that people don't actually talk like that. I apologize.
Well, they don't not talk like that. You know, they don't. It's not out of the question. You know, it depends on how much time they've spent other places. You know what I mean?
True that.
But I'm looking. There's no lime here, and now that I'm bike pilled, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I was riding bikes all over London too.
I'm sure they have a different competing brand.
I know, but I just really don't like downloading another app. I hate apps. I had to download an app for the train to go to Plum's house. I'm like, I got to delete this app now. You know, I don't like app clutter.
I don't like app clutter either. Maybe if you had an app that was a digital assistant, it could do it for you. That could be a little meta, though, wouldn't it? Could you imagine?
That's a crazy thought, but I know there are some really great digital assistants out there that are looking to get hired.
Yeah. Could you imagine telling your AI digital assistant to essentially commit suicide or kill one of your brothers?
I need you to go in there and I need you to choke train line to death.
Yeah.
Right now.
But he's my bunkmate. We're on page 3 next to each other.
I just deleted it. You inspired me to delete it. But next time I'm using an AI assistant, no question. What else I got? I got a lot of apps that I don't need. Depop. Why do I have Depop? I'm not 14. I must have only used that once to look at a T-shirt.
Damn, you got Depop?
This is dark. Yeah, I know. And I'm not proud. I leave it all on the table.
Yeah. So I guess we have like a few more minutes before our guest comes on. A dear friend of the show. She has a brain that should be paywalled, but we get it for free.
We get it.
What George Clooney and Brad Pitt stood in a pool and everyone's coming in there.
Sorry, bro.
covering in the aloes.
Because it kills me because it's much like Smartless, us if we were rich. It's really hitting below the belt. You and me, south of France.
The only thing, the only differential between you and I and Check's notes, Brad Pitt and George Clooney are just some commas.
Oh yeah,
in
just
the Chase
money,
Sapphire. That's the only difference.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
They're probably more private banking, Merrill Lynch, but yeah, it's the idea.
Well, also they're shorter than us.
That's true. They are shorter than us, and they're older, quite a bit older. Those are the only.
They're knocking on death's door, and
yeah, they're.
Everyone is saying, "Hey, Grandpa, can I please suck your dick forever?"
But when there's a picture of George Clooney, it's styled by George Cortina, where he's wearing red pants with an orange sweater, and it is very cool.
Yeah, but he kind of has a little bit of a isn't there like an accent of some sort, like a flower or a brooch or
no, that's Brad. That's Brad. That's a different picture. No, George is like laying down, and I'm like, damn, this is a expert level move, like unheard of, to mix the red and the orange. I mean, I'm sure obviously it's been done.
Damn, but when George mixed the red and the orange, oh damn, that's when you know it's crazy.
It's honestly, but yeah,
nobody else mixes the red and the orange other than I don't know. McDonald's.
They look great, but
they do look great. I haven't read the interview yet.
I believe that they are friends. I believe that Zach Barron wrote it, so you know it's good. But yeah, I believe that they're like I actually believe their friendship, which is not true about most like Hollywood bromances.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
You do enough Oceans movies together, you crush enough clunge over decades. That's twin right there.
I don't believe that like the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Ryan Reynolds are actually best friends. I think they bought a failing soccer team together. I don't think those guys are kicking.
No, well, they have the same HGH guy.
That's a good one. Yeah.
They kind of bonded over that. Yeah. They met in the waiting room.
We actually met buying vials out of a guy's fanny pack in Venice. It's crazy. It was such a cool guy.
Bro, you read Men's Health? I am Men's Health.
Wait, we've both been on the cover of Men's Health? We should be friends. All right, we have a guest. We just saw her this weekend. A personal friend of How Long Gone, Issy Wood. You probably know her beautiful paintings, her music, her wit is something that we are able to put on display with our audio broadcast, which I'm happy to do today. And she's actually in New York.
She's a fan of American podcasters, which is why we seem to be drawn to her as well.
Also, I want to bring this up to her, but yesterday when I was texting her about this, she was like, well, I haven't traveled with a laptop since I can remember. And I was like, wow, that is aspirational.
Hey, Julia Roberts.
Yeah, really aspirational. So we're going to ask her about that, but let's give Issy a jingle.
Does my connection sound okay?
Yours sounds good. Yeah, I'm worried about mine.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Because I'm in a hotel, but I assume you're in a nicer hotel.
I'm in a loft owned by my New York gallery. I'm in an air-conditioned Soho loft.
Okay, bitch. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, rub it in my face. I'm in a 5-star hotel room.
I will rub it in your face.
I deserve it.
Izzy, do you have air conditioning at your home in London?
No.
Yes, that's right. Suck it.
I mention it because it's exotic to me.
It is.
Air conditioning.
You fully renovated this beautiful house that I was lucky enough to visit. It's like immaculate. And you didn't just spend the extra dough to get a little aircon?
I think it's illegal in Europe.
It's not illegal. I think it can be done.
Culturally illegal.
It's societally illegal. The government just show up at your door. But no, I figured, like what we get like 4 extremely hot days in the UK a year. I know that number is growing with every passing year, but
okay, all right, leave your climate change activism for another podcast. Okay, relax.
Well, I am in the US right now. I'm in New York, so I'm and I'm a patriot.
Welcome home, brother.
Welcome home, brother.
Although the line at JFK for US citizens was worse than the foreigner line, which I've never encountered before, and I almost thought about producing my British passport and going through that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually very in line with what we were talking about in our intro of mostly talking about airport customs as we do on How Long Gone.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're known for.
Yeah, that's what we're known for. I love customs. There's a lot of situations I like to imagine you in that I just can't fathom. You know, like I can fathom you doing like 10 to 15 things that feel really comfortable to you, but waiting in line at customs is just something that would make me feel crazy.
Yeah, just picture me standing up and take away all my cigarettes.
That's what you're saying, because I imagine no one's trying to make small talk with you, even if the line is super long. Okay.
No, they're not. And I'm also, I am a US citizen, which means I pay tax to the IRS every year. They're the only one of two countries that taxes worldwide income. And I keep the passport. I deliberately don't renounce this passport because of the border control advantages, the privileges of like getting through nice and quick.
So you're paying an exorbitant amount of tax to get through customs 10 to 15 times a year.
Unbelievable amounts. They're taxing everything. I mean, that's why so many people renounce their citizenships, because it's the least tax efficient move you can, even if I moved to Dubai and paid zero tax, I would still have to pay the IRS.
Really?
I could never renounce my citizenship no matter what, just because I'm, again, like much like you, such a patriot. I couldn't sleep at night if I did that, no matter how much money I was saving.
Whereas I probably couldn't afford the paperwork.
It's a real drag, and I was always warned that it would be a drag, but there was a part of me that never thought I would make any money, and the IRS aren't interested in you when you're broke and living abroad.
Thank God.
That's true. I mentioned this a second ago, but yesterday you told me you don't travel with a laptop.
No.
It makes sense when I think about what you do for a living, but also that would make I couldn't do it. Like it would be like I was looking for a ghost limb.
How do you watch Ted Lasso when it's not on the TV?
I don't watch Ted Lasso. I fire up the laptop just to watch Harry Potter at Christmas time, but I get all my painting images from my phone. I write my blog from my phone. I write all emails and texts and all kinds of work admin from my phone. I just
okay, Gen Z, go off.
I just like to be able to do something anywhere, and having to get a laptop up, relies on setting up a surface and a chair, and I just like to do things on the hoof. But yeah, I don't think I've ever traveled with a laptop. I don't know what I'd be doing with a laptop.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
It's insane. It's an insane thought to us.
Yeah, like that's not possible. Not possible.
Like I'm still amazed by how awesome having a laptop is. Like every day I'm like, damn, I have a MacBook Pro and I could like write a song. I could use Photoshop. I could do everything. I'm so proud of it.
That's actually true. The lion's share of the time I spend on the laptop is when I'm making music on Ableton.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I wanted to also talk about because you have a studio, and I was very surprised by the studio. It was so cool to have that in your house.
Yeah, it's a new thing for me. It's actually kind of annoying to have to like go to a specific place in the house to record music, because I was doing it at my kitchen table, just kind of between other tasks. And now it feels like rather an unpleasant event to go down there to make something.
You got to go down there.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you got to go down there to get anything out?
Yeah. Which
really?
And I find
if you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come. And I find making music, hellish even on the best of days. So
me too. That's why I never learned to play an instrument. It was just I knew it was not. It wasn't for me.
It's awful. I don't know. It's completely self-imposed. I don't know why I do it. But yeah, thank you for having me back. By the way, I'm aware that a 2-timer or 3-timer, if you count our live show, it's
rare.
A rarefied opportunity.
It's rare air, but I think we're trying to do it a little bit more, just because there's certain people that the audience demands, even if they're not getting transvestigated, they still demand a return.
Yeah, I really don't know how to put that the trans rumors to rest on Reddit, other than saying I get a lot of targeted ad for egg freezing.
Okay.
Ever since I turned 30. I was trying to think what's changed since I was last on this podcast, and I'm now in my 30s. I wasn't when I last came on this podcast.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I knew you were a prodigy, but I didn't know you were that youthful.
I want you to have one of those American flag coffee mugs, but it's of your uterus, and it says "Try freezing this one."
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
So you're like, if I had a penis, why would I be getting targeted at? Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg knows what's going on downstairs, right? biologically.
Yeah, I just have a deep voice. Everyone needs to relax. I've had this voice since I was a child. I used to get mistaken for my dad on the phone as a child when I would answer the phone. Like
Wow.
and I come from a long line of deep voice women. I don't know what else to say. And the cigarettes.
So you have a deep voice lineage, is what you're saying. Several women from the Wood family?
Yeah, there are no women in my family with a high pitched voice. I'll put it that way. But mine and my paternal grandmothers are the deepest. But
have you found that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Have you found
no
that to be? Have people found that emasculating if they're dating you to have maybe a higher pitched voice than you?
I don't know if I've dated anyone with a higher pitched voice than me.
I'm sure some of them can hit some high registers.
And I would say probably dating me, the depth of my voice is like the least of their problems.
Sure. Like they're aware of it, but we got a lot more other things to take care of before we get to the voice. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it takes two to tango. I also have horrible taste in men, so
hey, don't
don't
talk about the homies like that. Come on now, don't do them like that.
But that gives you something to write a song about, though, right?
Exactly.
It sure does. It sure does.
What would life be if you couldn't write a song about it? It's all material. That's how we live our lives. We do everything so we can talk about it on the show. It's no different than that.
It's true. It's true.
This is why I hurt myself.
Yeah, nothing is for nothing when you're
Trent Reznor style.
But I've been really struggling to write a song about someone who shares their screen while on FaceTime and starts scrolling Hinge before my very eyes. Like I don't know how to pack that into lyrics.
I don't know either. But I think that's a good challenge for you and a creative pursuit for you as a songwriter and musician. This is the challenge that God has put in front of you, and it is yours and yours only to conquer.
I feel like that's a specific subject that could be related. I mean, it's a hyper specific situation to happen.
It's very modern.
Very modern.
It's very modern. And I met a girl the other day at a dinner who was broken up with via Chat GPT, and that feels like the same kind of flavor.
Wow.
You know, there's some kind of software check where you can check if something, if a text or an email was written by Chat GPT or whether Chat GPT informed the. And I think I don't know how these things are measured, but it scored 99%.
So you can run it. You can just run it.
You prepositions or something.
Wow! So you can just run it through some software and be like, "This motherfucker."
Yeah, I've seen that.
I think so.
This breakup has been chat-vestigated.
It makes sense because I'm sure like universities and colleges are having to do this constantly, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think people are breaking up with their partners using AI technology, and they don't even stop to consider that it's a bad thing. It's just like so second nature.
Well, you know what, guys? Let me put it out there. Is it that bad of a thing? I think
I don't know. I mean, being broken up with via something that looks like a press release, kind of cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Depending on the guy who's doing it.
I like the professionalism of it. You know, put it on letterhead. Really get it. Really.
Yeah, well, you know when you get
PDF.
it, to whom it may regard.
Yeah.
Or I hope this finds you well.
Yeah.
And then kind of. Yeah,
I think getting a nice PDF in your Gmail, it's clean. It's clean.
If it includes a private Bandcamp link, that really makes it.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
A WeTransfer download. It's just like a long selection of documents
with an embargo. But
just go through the paperwork.
Like being like the sharing the screen, seeing the Hinge pop up. That feels like a song that you could write and then maybe sell. Or share, give it to Olivia Rodrigo or, like a Sabrina Carpenter, like a young pop star thing. I feel like that could be.
This could be your.
You get 25%, 50% split on that one. We're buying another house, sweetie.
I feel like what you're trying to say is I'm too old to be embarrassed via FaceTime.
No.
I could see how you would get to that conclusion as a toxic podcast guest, and I feel triggered by that. But
actually, I am going to freeze my eggs after you've said that.
Just out of spite.
You've made me aware. No, you've just made me aware of the passage of time.
One of our darkest challenges. I
just think that sometimes you have a song, and sometimes. It's not, it could be a song, it could be a script, it could be any art form where you're like, you know what? Maybe Rodrigo will let this one fly or whatever it may be. Have you ever felt that with any art that you've created? Like maybe Fortet should have this drum loop instead?
Oh no, constantly. I don't. If I knew how to go about giving my songs to other people, that's all I think about when I'm writing. Is I just wish I wasn't the one singing this.
Okay.
Because my voice has its limitations aside from anything.
Well, there's a big industry that supports this kind of stuff because
I would
all
love
of our
to do
favorite
that.
songs
Yeah, just ask Rostam
are
or
written
something.
more by
He'll
people
tell you.
like you than people like them.
I would love to do that. I mean, I should. Yeah, I suppose I should ask. I suppose I should ask Rostam.
Yeah.
Just send the hard drive over. Let us go through it.
I mean, I want to do that. I don't. And especially since I realized this year that I take absolutely no pleasure in playing my music live.
But you did a couple sold out shows at Public Records, correct?
I did, yes. And the capacity there, the capacity of Public Records, as you know, is 250 people. So it's no How Long Gone live event.
Hey.
But
hey.
It's a start.
Hey.
It's a start, and it's also an end.
That is a How Long Gone live event in certain cities.
Yeah.
Let's
be not in majors, but in some cities. But look,
okay.
Chicago.
Yeah, there's no downside
No, it was fine.
to that. I mean, Chicago's 300, but that's fine.
So you said you realized that you take no pleasure in playing your own music. Let's break that down a little bit more, sister.
I did it for the first time. We cleared out my whole studio last May 23, and I played for the first time with my band of 3 elder millennial men.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it that time, and I put it down to first time nerves. I did it again in Paris, just like as part of my exhibition at the end of last year. Hated it even more, but I thought maybe I just hated Paris, which I do.
Hell yeah, same.
And then New York, it was undeniably the best setup. The sound was absolutely incredible. Like the 2 shows went well. I had 80% of the people I love in the world in the room, and I still just absolutely loathed it.
People are dancing, smiling, singing along, and it was
people singing along, and it just wasn't worth the nerves and then the exhaustion, either, like bookending the experience. And I was like promised by people who know better than I do that at a certain point I would get addicted to the feeling.
You get addicted to the shindig.
Yeah, like you get addicted to the nerves, the kind of adrenaline or whatever, and I get addicted to pretty much everything. So
yeah,
when I didn't get addicted to this, yeah, I think I'm
You're like, hold on.
Something's wrong. Something's very wrong.
Yeah.
I'm rolling my 20th cigarette, but I don't feel like playing again. So I guess I'm good.
I really don't.
Well, I guess it's possible to be addicted to not spending hours like setting up cables and chords and synths and guitar pedals and
my
shit,
bassist is two of the guys in my band are tour managers, and so they know how to do all that stuff, and they know how to add a backing track to put the harmonies in. They do all the technical stuff, and this is what I mean when I say like I was doing it under the best possible circumstances. Like it was made so easy for me, and yet
and despite all that, so you show up like Justin Bieber, a small Asian woman attaches your wireless in-ear and hands you a microphone, and you just run on stage and go for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And I hate every second of it.
Beautiful. I think that's a profound realization and a healthy one.
Yeah, it was fine. And I even the second show we did, a friend had made a reservation at Outro Paradiso, so I kind of hurried up the set just so that we could make
that's
that res.
That's very How Long Gone coded. That is absolutely something we're like, well,
I know. I thought you'd be proud of that. I thought you'd be proud of that.
The crowd's going, one more song. You're like, 9:15 over it.
There's no time for an encore. Like they close at 11. I need to get like 3 courses in before. Yeah. So the writing is on the wall a little bit with playing live, and I have scheduled absolutely no other live.
Well, what about a DJ set though? What about a DJ set?
I would do that.
Okay, this is big. So do we know how to DJ, or you're interested in learning?
Don't know how to DJ.
Okay, but you're down.
Yeah, you would think spending like a critical mass of time with Mark Ronson, you would eventually just learn how to DJ, but
through osmosis.
All of a sudden, you're just wearing a Gucci suit and you're DJing. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm saying like #ThankYouGucci on Instagram. You have to be careful. You don't end up with an ambassadorship.
You open your Spotify and suddenly you have a bunch of Bruno Mars MP3s on your laptop. How'd that get there?
Yeah.
Why is my record box stocked with Bruno? I I think
is that a 93
DJing,
Bruno? You're going to want to decant that first.
let it breathe. I think DJing could be a nice thing for you to do because it's like music but easier.
Yeah. No, again, it's something
No offense.
I've thought about.
I think the differential for you in this one, you're not performing live at public record for 250 people because you need the money to make rent. Like it's
No.
I just, all that is to say, I'm wondering how much, if somebody was like, hey, we want Issy Wood live at this like cool art event in Switzerland, and we're going to pay you $20,000 to do a half an hour set. Would that sway?
Is that
move the needle in at all?
Of my songs with my band, or are we now talking about
of your songs. Your band, your songs.
DJing?
No, you got to play with the band.
How much money would it take for you to enjoy playing your music live?
I don't think I'm at liberty to disclose that.
Great answer.
I feel like fiscal vulnerability is more for the live shows. I do appreciate that Chris was very like financially vulnerable at the last live show. But I'm not gonna say anything more about it because it's
the best part about that vulnerability was you're the only person who noticed it and commented on it. And it wasn't meant to be.
You could also say judged. You could also say judged it.
Judge. I felt judged, but it was sweet. It felt like a hug, less than a shove.
I felt like I did feel a light to moderate sharp intake of breath in the audience. maybe I imagined that. No, it was just a beautiful thing because your love of money is like one of the driving themes of this podcast. And last time I was on, I didn't listen to How Long Gone, and now I am a most religious listener. It's like heavily on my painting rotation, along with Matt and Shane's secret podcast.
Sure.
So I feel like Matt, Shane, Jason, and I are there certain paintings that we're, I don't want to say responsible for, but are there things that you kind of equate with us? Pieces?
You're asking for points on the paintings.
No, I would never.
You're asking for publishing. You're asking for publishing on the paintings.
I don't want any. After your tangles in the music business, I would never push.
I wouldn't have been able to finish this outline without that biba doobie, is what Chris is asking.
I like the idea of being like, all of a sudden I just changed course, and this episode of How Long Gone took me in a new direction creatively.
I think it's more I could go into my studio when I'm back there and I could look at paintings and they would remind me of exactly what you guys were saying, or what Matt and Shane were saying, or what Nomi was saying on the New Yorker Critics at Large podcast, and be like, oh yeah, I remember that's when Jason formally announced the existence of a Substack. I remember it well. It doesn't inform the title.
The Day the Earth Stood Still.
The Day the Earth Stood Still. Yeah, that's the only way to put it.
Now my wife Substacks more than I do.
Like that's when Shane Gillis was talking about reading a Hitler biography or something. Like I can just like look at a painting. It's between me and the work, really.
I started listening to Matt and Shane's podcast through your influence, actually, Izzy, because I was like, if this person,
you're welcome,
is getting something out of this that I did not really feel like I did not give them a chance to win me over with their intelligence. I just sort of assumed that it was going to be more Rogan-esque, but it's true. They're smart, well-spoken people.
No, it's just boys talking, two boys talking, which is what I love, because how often does a woman, a biological woman, you should probably cut that.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear. I'm not cutting that.
How often do I get to listen to two men talking with no other women in the room? I feel like I'm eavesdropping in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
We get that a lot as feedback from other people.
Yeah, it's just really nice. And I know Matt and Shane, like, because Shane is shooting whatever the second series of his TV show. Mm-hmm. He's kind of abandoned ship for a while, and Matt's been just reviewing books mainly, which is a different.
So you're saying when Shane goes to make his bad TV show, his partner continues the podcast making $100,000 a month, or is it more than that? It's like a staggering amount of money.
They're number one on Patreon. I think it's $400,000 a month. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I did check this
Okay.
once, but they are number one on Patreon, which is crazy.
If I'm making if we're splitting it evenly, let's just say, and I'm making $200,000 a month to podcast, how many times a week?
Once a week. Well, one regular episode, one Patreon.
Yeah, I'll read the fucking dictionary when my man is shooting. Like, who cares? If they're that thirsty for it, my God.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping it's just going to become him like reading the side effects on the back of a Zoloft packet or something, and I will still listen and I'll still give them my Patreon money.
But he did do an episode where he interviewed a guy.
He had the dick specialist.
The dick specialist.
He had the dick specialist,
and that was a little tough for me to listen to, but also an honest revealing of oneself as well, to admit that you are very interested in making your penis bigger and nicer and stuff.
Yeah, and again, very like just absolutely fascinating to me. Who doesn't, that's completely out of my personal purview.
I guess that's how you get $400K a month.
Yeah, podcasting alone is one of the greatest. Is one of the I equate it with standing on stage and singing. It's really
tightrope walking.
It's tightrope walking. Like the only, I don't. Tim Dillon and Bill Burr are the only people that I know that consistently do it at a pretty high level.
Yeah, the art of the solo pod.
Yeah, I mean Tim Dillon. I don't know how he.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know how he keeps the energy up for that long.
Yeah, he really is a.
It doesn't seem super prepared.
Master of the craft.
It doesn't seem like he's looking at his iPad at his notes.
No, I don't. I think he has. I think he has like 3 to 4 news headlines. Some of them aren't even. Some of them are just pulled up ad hoc, and he can do like 20 minutes on each, with just like the far off laughter of his producer in the background, which I do think is important. I think having a producer as an audience is.
Yeah, that's a big safety net to have, a couple guys in the back chuckling at all your stuff. It's a lot easier than just being alone in a hotel room being like, have you seen this? But if you're a professional stand-up comedian and all you do is talk alone, which is you and a microphone in front of other people, the solo podcast is where all that content is mined.
True.
And you work out all your bits and you don't have to worry about
for sure
people booing you or walking out or anything like that.
For sure.
And then you can also paywall that as well. It's a beautiful thing if you're able to pull it off.
Did you watch the new Joe Rogan special?
Yes, of course I did. And I'm like, with every day that passes, I feel better for I just need to put an extra day in between having seen it and now.
I have to, yeah.
It gets better.
I have to say, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I know.
Like I don't.
Why is he shouting? Why is he shouting?
He's shouting the whole time, but he's also wearing that weird orange button-up that's obviously going to show sweat, which is such a strange choice.
The pattern of his sweat marks was so unusual. I think some of it was coming off his face and forming a kind of like almost an arc across his pectorals.
Mm-hmm. And they are pectorals. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. They are pectorals.
I mean, I said to Jason, I was like, this man has thousands of hours of, objectively sus, but some very interesting conversation. He has so much under his belt. Like, this man has been talking to people for years, and that's what it boils down to, is like an offensive Asian accent, like trans jokes, and like not being able to say the homophobic slur, the F word anymore.
It's crazy.
Like that's like the best you can do. And I think it's sad in a way that like he holds so much sway in the comedy community or whatever with his club, and with, he can make or break a comedy career by having someone on the JRE, and everyone has to kind of lie to him and pretend that his stand-up is the most heinous thing they've ever witnessed. 56 and to be lied to like that.
I always forget that he has a wife, which makes
really
me laugh.
bad.
Imagine being married to Joe Rogan. I mean, I know you're rich.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I feel like no one really knows who his wife is. He kind of keeps his family life mercifully private.
Imagine going to like private school.
Maybe the only cool thing about him,
Austin, and you're Joe Rogan's daughter. I mean, that can't be good.
I guess we're coming. We're like experiencing a whole generation of like daughters, young women, or even young men who are the children of like cancelled, controversial, Me Too'd figures.
Yeah, that's true.
And I wonder what I don't know what that's going to do to culture. Like whether we're going to get some tell memoirs, what form it's
We'll
going
get
to
a
take.
Vanity Fair. We'll get a nice Vanity Fair story, like a nice wrap up of the
I
top
hope so.
5.
Yeah, like does Louis C.K.'s daughter's probably in college now,
Yeah.
and like does she get
Yeah.
teased by her classmates?
I hope not, because her dad is the GOAT.
Because her dad likes to pull his pee-pee out at the hotel?
Her dad is so good at comedy. I don't know. To me, it's
I agree.
like he's at least he's not Joe Rogan, which is has terrible hot takes and is also a bad comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Just a potent combination.
I think Louis, as he's getting older, he's becoming a little more. He's getting a little Rogan-esque, kind of lashing out a little bit, but still his discography is still quite goated.
Yeah,
across the board.
Yeah, and that TV show, the Louis TV show is so phenomenal, and it's like, I don't know, it's maybe the best TV I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I used to love smoking weed and watching Louis, and then just being like, damn, bro, I get it all, man. It's got so many layers, bro.
It's so good.
Chris probably didn't watch it.
Chris, did you see Louis?
Yeah, I don't really care. I don't really remember. I don't. It didn't make any sort of impact on me. Like, I watched it for sure at the time, but that's how I feel about kind of most TV shows that aren't reality.
That isn't
like I don't.
That isn't The Bear or whatever you guys are.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't
indirectly involved with.
Exactly what we're indirectly involved in.
I watch all this stuff. I just watch this stuff and then I just forget about it immediately. Like, I just forget. Like, I couldn't tell you a single plot line of a show that I watched. Like, there's just no way.
And you're sober.
What does leave a mark? What leaves a mark on Chris Black?
I could tell you about every character on Summer House on Bravo.
Right.
Like, I know what they do for a living. I know the ins and outs of their relationships. But I just, like, you want to talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm season 3 episode 8? Like, I'm the wrong guy.
So why do you use the condescending tone when you're talking about these television shows versus Bravo reality?
Because the popularity of TV has led every armchair expert to think that they are, approving scripts.
Not a Dax Shepard reference.
To think that they're like approving scripts and critiquing dialogue when it's like, you work at an ad agency, bro, and you watch TV. Everybody's got to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're talking about how many, like it's a single camera. It's a single cam sitcom. It's like, dude, you do not know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, preferring reality TV to that is objectively insane to me.
Yeah, I know.
Me too.
I know.
And that's sort of the basis of our podcast.
Yes, I need the buffer of, if not full fiction, then at least like moderate fiction in order to enjoy something. I think there's some safety in knowing that it's not really happening, even if it's based on real events. But reality TV it is happening, and I find it unspeakably sad.
It is happening.
It makes me want to up the antidepressant dose.
That's so funny, because that's exactly how I feel about like Succession. That makes me so depressed. Real Housewives of Orange County, that perks me up.
Damn, isn't Orange County the one about the it was filmed just before the mortgage crisis?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's been filmed for a long time because it's kind of like one of the. I think it might be the original. I think it's the original.
Yeah, because if that was like in 2008, then yeah, that timeline aligns.
Yeah, I read something about like everyone kind of losing their houses shortly afterwards.
Well, that's the beauty of reality TV, is that everyone is presenting rich, but then as the seasons go on, you kind of find out what's really good. And that is something that I like to watch.
That's terrifying.
But I think you were right. It's like the very first iteration. I remember watching it, and it'd be these families in the most expensive zip code in America, living in these mansions, and the income is like, I have a construction company.
Yeah.
The bank just gave me this loan on this $4 million house.
Hey, there's a lot of money in construction.
Yeah, a lot of subprime mortgages.
There's a lot of money in construction.
Subprime mortgages.
Yeah, it's very subprime mortgagey, and then nobody knows, but in 11 months I'm gonna kill myself in the garage. It was like that kind of vibe.
Yeah,
because I have to buy my kids M3s.
I don't want to watch like the beginnings of suicidal ideation in real time. I just don't.
Yeah, me too.
I want to watch Lane Price in Mad Men going into his Jaguar and trying to off himself with the tailpipe, and then the Jaguar won't start.
First of all,
I need to know that never happened, but I also want to enjoy watching it.
I don't think there's ever been a real reality TV suicide. There's probably been some low like Survivor contestants, but not like A-list or even B-list suicides that I know of.
Well, I mean, I feel like Love Island has a like a blood spattered history of like even the presenter killed herself.
Well, Love Island's a special case. I actually don't watch
and
that.
they don't do it on camera, but but it leaves a indelible mark on on the soul. I think.
Yeah, on every.
It's not front page news, but it does happen.
No,
that's front page news on the Daily Mail for sure.
True.
Yeah, it seems to be all the worst parts of, and none of the good parts, which is a sense of accomplishment and respect. It just seems to go straight from a bit like being a politician.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like all the fame, but without the glamour.
There's truly no glamour. I think that's what we're lacking in the White House. A little glamour.
Yeah. Now you have to go do your press tours at McDonald's and Waffle Houses and
they're trying
places like that.
They're trying, but
not the Ivy.
But they picked a vice presidential candidate that wears like a camo hat and Carhartts and like coaches his softball team, which is about as unglamorous as you can be.
Yeah, I really need to read up on those two before I place my vote, which I probably won't do. But no, I think it's summed up by like when Trump gave the press conference, it was meant to be the 4 seasons, and it was at the 4 seasons garden and landscaping.
Yeah.
That
is so.
That to me like sums the whole thing up.
Good.
It was perfect.
That is so perfect. Fucking good. So good.
That gave us all the joy that we needed during the pandemic, I think.
I agree.
I feel like it brought both sides together.
It
like
did.
This is fucking funny.
That was my Squid Game.
Yeah, you got
that was my Tiger King.
My Tiger King.
That was my Tiger King.
My Tiger King.
Izzy, really quick, going back to Mad Men, you were mentioning Lane. Is he your Don Draper, or is Don Draper your Don Draper?
Don Draper's my Don Draper, because Lane doesn't smoke cigarettes. And Lane, like the character arc of Lane is just getting into progressively worse and worse debts and being too proud to tell anyone. So to me, that's a
toxic trait.
That's quite and
to turn off.
Don Draper just has a tooth pain and smokes through it, which I really relate to.
I think I'm almost due for a rewatch of that.
It might be time. The time between the finale and then watching the pilot again seems to get smaller and smaller for me. It's just like a comforting show to me.
How many goes have you had at this point? I think I'm on 3.
Ooh, I might also be on 3, maybe 4. I arrived to it relatively late. I didn't watch it as it was actually coming out.
Neither did I actually.
But yeah, that's also another event for which I'll get the laptop out for that, for Mad Men.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have a TV.
I do have a TV, but I don't really watch it.
That's an Issy Wood lyric right there.
That's an Issy Wood lyric right there. I got a 70. She's got a 75-inch, like she's got Dallas Cowboy season tickets, but she doesn't even turn it on.
So you just use it for Call of Duty?
Yeah, you use it for your games.
Call of Duty.
Can you connect the PS4 with GTA 5 onto the Samsung frame? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay, that's really good to know. TV in bed makes me think of like clinical depression. That makes me think I've made absolutely no progress since I was 14 and dropping out of school.
So you're saying like you want to keep it where the magic happens. You don't want to kind of take it down a notch.
Yeah, no, I think I just needed something to put on that wall. And I'm happy to switch it on and have like the nice picture that it shows.
I was gonna ask because I have a Samsung frame too. It was a thorn in my side for literally years. I fucking hate it. But did you get a frame? Do you have like a gilded gold frame? I don't remember. Or is it just flat?
No, it's just raw.
And what paintings have you licensed to keep on? Some Picasso?
Chris, I've made no inroads into my Samsung frame journey. Like if I
haven't either.
I got it because I was dating a guy who had a Samsung frame in his bedroom, and I was like, oh, it's really nice watching TV in bed with someone you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
And then we broke up, which is like a common theme. Like when I was last on here and I spoke about getting all that music equipment that a guy I was dating convinced me to get. And so the man leaves and I'm just left with technology.
Well,
each time.
This is why you gotta date a lawyer or a doctor. There's no technology involved.
Yeah.
There's no soundproofing. It's a different lifestyle.
Yeah, I need to date someone with a proper job.
Do you encounter a lot of people with proper jobs?
No, unless I'm going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And also my parents are doctors. They had proper jobs, and I did make out with one of my dad's friends when I was like 17, but I think that's like
That
I
doesn't.
don't know if I could go back there again. I was very stoned.
I don't think that was love. Yeah, I don't think that was like.
No, it wasn't love. That was rebellion.
Yes.
That was like to upset and disturb my dad.
Was he hot though, or
He was
it
hot. Yeah, he was hot.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
He was a hot surgeon. Ian, if you're listening, it meant something to me. To me, it was all real. He's not listening.
That feels like an Issy song as well. This is a great idea for a song.
I did make a song about him.
Really?
Yeah.
Ian, do you recall?
And if I give it to someone else to sing, I'm going to need them to know the whole backstory and be like, unless you made out with a 50-year-old when you were 17, like, I don't think you should be taking this song.
Now, do you think Ian was complacent in this, or do you think he didn't really have much of a choice?
I think we were smoking some weed in my dad's garden, and the more I describe it, the darker it sounds. But I was like very anorexic. I don't know what like waif fantasy was going on in his head. He was married. Absolute disaster. Ooh. My dad was like in the kitchen preparing some kind of meat because he got paid in meat once for a surgery that he did.
Hold on. You're saying he traded medical surgery?
Did he operate on animals or humans
for a ribeye?
He operated on this guy called the Earl of March, which is like he owns most of the land in West Sussex.
Okay.
It was either the Earl himself or one of the Earl's relatives, and he did a surgery on this Earl. And the Earl, and my dad is a giant foodie, and the Earl said, instead of a fee, why don't I pay you in like 3 of the best deer you ever had for the best venison you've ever had?
Wow,
that's so sick.
And so yeah, all this like cut up deer arrived at the house, barely fit in the freezer.
Christmas morning,
but we were eating good. So
I didn't know your dad was a foodie.
He was. Yeah, he was. He is. I mean, my knowledge of him is a bit out of date, but
if you had to guess, I know you haven't talked in a while, but if you had to guess, do you think he has gout? Yes or no?
No gout.
Good.
No gout.
That's good. That bodes well for you.
Takes otherwise probably quite good care of himself.
Okay, so he's just gorging, but he's getting his steps in.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe even a compulsive exerciser and a top shagger. So that's cardio, right?
Technically,
indeed it is.
It does get the heart rate up. So yes, it does count. Yeah, it does count.
In 2 years since I was last on here, I'm still talking about my dad's sexual proclivity.
I forgot about
that. Well,
it's
pretty good material. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Who can resist?
You got to do something with it.
For an actual serious question,
yeah.
We're talking about how your music, it seems like it's about love and relationships, but what are you dealing with when you pick up the paintbrush?
Oh,
what are you getting at?
Gosh, I think I'm dealing with. Well, for a long time, it was like painting a lot of things that formed like a kind of high femme idea of womanhood, because I felt like I arrived very late to my femininity through like eating disorders and then being a tomboy and only having male friends for so long. And so I was painting a lot of like sort of women's accessories, trying to work out which part of them I wanted to adopt for myself. And now I don't know. Now I just it's developed such its own logic, like where I can now see an object in the world or on the internet or whatever, and I know immediately that I must paint it, and I don't dare question why. And before I finish one painting, I'm already starting on the other. So it's just I kind of let the internal logic fly, and it's also a luxury of like no longer being in art school and not having to prepare a spiel on my own work and the weighty concepts behind it. And now I can luckily hand it over to the people who write about my work and
they could
enjoy more what other people.
Yeah. Are you a lot more likely to finish a painting than a song?
Yes.
How much does money have to do with that?
Oh gosh. I'd probably be lying if I said it.
Yeah.
If it didn't have to do with that.
Sure.
But it's also an impossible question to answer, because a world in which I make a lot of money from my music and none from painting is
it answers itself.
Yeah. I like to think not as much as Chris Black would answer if he had this question put to him.
I do things for the love. Okay. you guys. I honestly, I do a lot of things just because I like to do them.
Your photography, for example.
Yeah, I spend a fortune taking pictures.
That's true.
And having them developed, and I buy all the cameras because I just like it. And one day, hopefully, I'll get paid for it. But until then, I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, that's how all art practices start. Like I knew I would be painting whether I was going to be paid for it or not, and I still would be. I really believe that. But I don't know. I mean, making money from something and also loving it for pure reasons, I don't know. Need they be mutually exclusive? Is that a giant cope? That question?
No. I think it's fair.
No.
I think it's fair. When you choose these things to paint, how do you catalog them? Is it like screenshots on your phone and then you print them out, or is it like a folder? We've established you don't use the laptop, so is it all on the phone?
It's all on the phone. They stay on the phone. I never print them out. Very occasionally, no, they're just straight from the phone.
So you just look at your phone.
I just look at my phone. But yeah, no, it's really weird. It's just how I like to do it. I have a tiny image on my phone, and then I make it into a 11-foot painting. If I don't know, I don't really know how that works, but it works for me.
With your mind, have you ever considered an iPad?
No.
Hell yeah, because you're not a fucking nerd. That's why.
Well, because I'm not a mom.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a mom, and I don't have Facebook.
You don't?
No.
You fucked up on that. That's your bad.
I know. I wish. I keep thinking I'd like to get it to look at all the girls who bullied me in school. I'd really like to know how they're doing. Like, they're probably all dental hygienists at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of dental assistants in your past.
They're definitely all fat. The last time I looked at Facebook.
God, I hope they're fat.
You know, actually, I've noticed a trend on Facebook where it used to be people are fat, and now people are going through like a midlife I have to lose weight journey. Like as like there's some guys from high school that used to be fat, they're now buff.
There's a lot more gym selfies.
Yeah, like they're buff now, and I'm like, oh, you went on the ride. I like this. I'm proud of you.
I mean, I do feel sorry for those of us who are losing weight organically at this point, because everyone assumes it's Ozempic.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can never convince someone that you're like, no, I actually healed my relationship with food and exercise. And they're like, no, you're taking that shot. It's sad.
No, I think people can tell. I mean, obviously in the face.
I think people think they can tell. I think people think they can tell, but I don't think it's that obvious.
I can't fucking tell.
I've been surprised a few times.
There's a little bit of like a spiritual dimension aura that people who are on Ozempic put off, I believe. Maybe your third eye is not open, Chris.
My third eye isn't open. It's I'm so pro Ozempic because I just think it's like, who cares? But people can't stop talking about it. So
people kind of did stop talking about it, actually.
No, it's like Frog Club. People can't shut the fuck up, and it's boring now.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of really unlikely friends who,
yeah,
I just would, their ethics don't necessarily, or what I thought their ethics were, don't agree with taking it, but they took it. And
when it comes to being your hottest self, are ethics even ever involved, though?
Yeah, but I mean, these two people, they're shitting their brains out. Like, is that really your hottest self?
Okay.
They're Derek Blasberging all left and right, and I don't
not Blasberg,
but I guess whatever works.
Painting the ceiling.
I've definitely heard some horror stories, but I feel like that stuff is fairly like rare. Like I feel like it's not. I think it's like if you are taking it and you're still trying to eat the same way, then you're going to have a problem.
Yes.
But you have to you have to actually respect the fact that your appetite is diminished.
Yeah, there's not,
and it's fine.
It's not that easy, as I understand it, and there are other side effects that you have to. I don't know. It's I've come too far in my eating disorder recovery to then to me it's doping.
Yeah.
It's like in the Olympic event that is trying to achieve a healthy weight.
Yeah,
it is doping.
Okay, so Ozempic to you is like a male boxer competing in the female category, is what you're saying?
No, please don't make this into something it's not.
wait, no,
it's not about that.
I was trying to sneak a Joe Rogan in there. I'm sorry.
I'm not falling for that. Because I've listened to so much Joe Rogan, I'm very attuned to it.
You are?
No, it's people claiming they thought what they were taking were vitamins or supplements and kind of secretly realizing it was doping and then having their medals taken away.
Yes.
But I'm also sick and twisted, and I feel like I have spent my life like fighting, like at war with my own appetite, and the idea of having that appetite just disappear thanks to pharmaceuticals is very strange to me.
Right.
As much as I want it, and I'm kind of envious of it, but I hate it and I disapprove of it. I don't know.
Was it more difficult to stop drinking and drugs or to conquer an eating disorder? Or are they too closely tied?
Babe, eating disorder, 1,000%. What? Because you have to eat. You have to eat. So. You can't just stop.
Yeah.
You imagine, saying I'm giving sobriety from alcohol a go, but you have to have 3 pints a day with 3 tiny shots of vodka in between. but you have to stay sober. You can't let it get too out of control. No more, no more, no less.
True.
That's it's, I mean, because food it's a process addiction. It's like sex addiction or love addiction or gambling or something. It's you have to sort of very clearly know whether you're gambling or not, obviously, but similar to sex in that you can't really live life without sex, or at least like romantic touch, in the same way that you can't live without food.
I'm human and I need to be loved.
Yeah. And there's no 2 ways around it. And you have to kind of define your own bad behavior, and you have to be super honest with yourself about when something's slipping, because it's not clear cut and it's not quantifiable, really. No, drinking drugs was easy to give up compared.
Yeah.
Even though both Chris, you and I have now relapsed at no more.
That's true.
So arguably you're like only 4 days sober at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm still getting it.
And I'm only 5 years sober. Thankfully I went to Noma like early.
Trying to get it back on track.
Well, one day at a time.
Thank you. Exactly.
One day at a time.
Chris is still nursing his kombucha hangover.
Yeah. I did not feel good after I had that juice pairing.
On the subject of food, I took like a little gut biome kind of testing and said I need to be eating a lot more, sardines, tinned fish, hot girl foods, things like that. Or those waters that you swim in? And if so, could you offer me some assistance on how to dive into that world? Because it's something that I struggle with.
I can't help. I really don't have a leg to stand on when giving dietary advice. I'm like at least smart enough to know that.
I guess not so much dietary, but like, are you like a tinned fish enjoyer? Do you like anchovies and sardines and things like that?
I do, but I get the cheapest, like Sainsbury's, not even name brand, just own brand tuna in olive oil or sunflower oil, honestly.
Sure.
I have a kind of a deserving issue. I'll prepare like a beautiful spread for other people, but I will.
You make a jailhouse plate for yourself.
Yeah.
Something you'd feed the cats.
Because on some level, I believe that's what I deserve. Something I'd feed the cats. Yeah. It's what I deserve.
Well, it is what you deserve. So well done.
Yeah.
I was reading this book I got at the airport, Jason, by A.A. Gill, who's like a pretty well-known food critic.
Oh, poor me.
And he really had a great, I meant to send it to you, about how dinner parties suck. And it was really excellent. And how he sends food back at a dinner party.
Was it his memoir, Chris? Poor me?
No, no.
It wasn't the story of his alcoholism.
No, it's like the collected essays and columns and stuff.
Right.
So it's pretty fun to read because it's like kind of, everything's a little bit short and punchy and you just move on to the next one. But the food stuff is really funny and good. I was really, because I knew it. I mean, I've read it before.
Why I Hate Dinner Parties, first published 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how you send food back at a dinner party.
You tell the host that it sucks, and then I guess in the story they all go make everyone kind of agrees, and they go make omelets together in the kitchen.
Yeah, you have to snap your fingers in the air like you're a rude person at a restaurant, and just like point down to the food and be like, "Can you bust that?"
This is not good.
But yeah, A.A. Gill's. I think he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
I think he's dead. He's dead. But his memoir on alcoholism is really good, and it doesn't take itself too seriously in the like trauma porn department. I recommend.
He's got a great tone.
He has a good he's one of our best. He's one of our best food writers.
Damn. Okay, I'll look into it. I've read some bits of his and I'm familiar with him, but I haven't read any of the books, so I'll dive in. Thank you for that, guys.
The book's good.
Hey, it's our pleasure.
Oh yeah, I guess the only other thing that I had on my notes is I realized when I saw you last week that you are secretly quite tall.
I am secretly quite tall. I think Shard mentioned some girl, some like 5 foot nothing girl with a 6 foot boyfriend that he saw on the train, and I said that was like remarkably selfish for someone that short to be hoarding all of the 6 foot men when people like me who I'm like 5'9.5" and change, almost 5'10" and definitely over 5'10" when I'm wearing like anything with a heel.
When you have your platforms on, it's no joke.
I need the 6 foot man. It's not just a fetish to me, it's a craving. It's a human right.
It's human
I
rights.
like 5'9.5" and change. That's a new one I haven't heard.
Yeah, that's 5. Yeah, I made that up. That's just
5'9"
me.
and 17/34.
It's the air conditioning is getting to my brain.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Friend. It's a pleasure to talk to you as always. I'm sorry I'm missing you in New York, but please enjoy it.
It's okay. I'm going to the Hamptons tomorrow, so I won't be in the city for much longer.
God bless.
When do you come back from the Hamptons? Are you going straight back to London, or are you going to be around in New York next week?
I'll probably come back on maybe Saturday night or Sunday back to the city, just to like see a few more people and then leave for London on Monday. Just a few days in the Hamptons.
That's all anyone can take. Enjoy it.
All right. Izzy has a new album out, Accidental American, available on all platforms. Go give it a listen. I listened to it on my dog walk this morning for the 4th time probably. Every time I listen to it, I hear a new bit where I'm like, huh. On one song this morning, I was like, it was giving Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh. That's so. I assumed that both of you despise my music and just kind of put up with it. But
no, I'm actually surprised that I do like it.
No,
I didn't know what to expect if I'm keeping it 1K.
It took a long time to get into it. I mean, it was a big hill to climb. My last note involving you and music and podcasting, and this will sound like an insult, but I feel like you would make a very good podcast theme song.
Interesting.
Like you would be very good at making a song that's like
that I could do.
14 seconds.
Dax Shepard's intro music for all the different podcasts that he does are heinous. So, Dax, hit me up. I know you won't.
Dax, hit me up. But I mean, you could create a new theme song for Dax on spec.
On spec, yeah.
And who knows, it could turn into your biggest song, or even just like Matt and Shane. They don't even have a song.
They do on the YouTube version of their podcast. Real Heads Know.
Real Heads Know.
Yeah.
Real Heads Know. All right, Izzy. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, as Chris said.
Thanks.
Go stream your new album and have fun in the Hamptons.
I will.